Hello friends, welcome. Today in this class, we will talk about the balance of payment. Okay. In these, we will talk in detail regarding the meaning of balance of payment. Okay. It includes the current account and the capital account. We will learn the both of these in detail. Okay. And then we will talk about the equilibrium and disequilibrium of BOP. Okay. So now let's start with the understanding of it. First, let's talk about what is BOP. Balance of payment account is highly known as the BOP. BOP is an abbreviation of balance of payment account. Balance of payment. Okay. So balance of payment, it's a statement. Okay, it is a statement that showing the it shows the systematic records of all economic transaction. Okay, it shows all the economic transaction between one country and the rest of the world. Okay, the transaction related to this is recorded in the balance of payment statement. Okay. It records all the international transaction in a systematic way. Okay. For example, let's say India having the transaction with all economic transaction with the Europe. Okay. Then let's say with the China. Then let's say with the USA. Okay. All these transactions are the international transaction. Okay. And the statement where all these transactions are recorded systematically is known as the balance of payment statement. Okay. Now, the balance of payment statement is made. All the economic transaction is occurred due to the flow of goods or the flow of services. Okay, or the flow of investment. If we have the flow of goods, services or the investment, then with any other country, okay, then we have the international transactions and this is recorded in the balance of payment statement. Okay, let's say when we have the flow of goods. Okay, so when there is import or the export of goods, then there is a flow of goods and is recorded in the BOP. Or let's say any country have rendered a services to any other country or received service from any other country. Then we have the receipts and payments. Okay, that is also recorded. Okay, it is also called the international transaction because it is between one or two countries. Okay, and if the country invest their money with the rest of the world or get the investment from the other countries, then it is then the country have the flow of investment. Okay, so this all is recorded systematically and the statement which records all of this is known as the balance of payment statement. Okay, so the balance of payment statement, it adopts double entry bookkeeping method. In these we have the debit and credit side of the accounts. Okay, debit side includes all the payments and credit side records all the receipts. Okay, the balance of payment statement is records all this transaction, all this economic transaction on annual basis. Okay. Generally, the preparation time for the balance of payment statement is 1 year. That is, it records the transaction on annual basis. Right? Now, the balance of payment is basically divided into two parts, mainly into two parts. Right? The first one is the balance of payment of current account. Okay, it is balance of payment of current account, and the second one is balance of payment of capital account. Thus we can say this, that the balance of payment has two accounts, that is the current account and the capital account, right? We will talk in detail about the both of these in detail. Let's first start with the current account, balance of payment of current account, right? Here the current account is also further divided in two parts, that is the balance of trade, okay, and the balance of invisibles, okay. It includes the balance of trade and balance of invisible. Balance of trade is also known as visible item, okay. So the balance of so the current account includes the balance of trade and the balance of invisible. Balance of trade is known as visible item. It includes the visible item, or it is also called the merchandise item, right? So balance of trade it includes the value of exports and the value of imports of different goods. It includes goods only. Balance of trade includes goods only, okay, and therefore it is known as a visible item or the merchandise item, right? Now, for example, it includes the export and the import, right? So the difference between export, value of export and import is known as the balance of trade, okay, that is known as balance of trade. Here the export, for example, the country export tea or the country imports petroleum products, right? So it is included in the balance of trade account, right? And the difference between these all the exports and import of goods is known as the balance of trade, okay? It is known as balance of trade, okay? Here the balance of trade may be favorable, it may be positive, or it may be unfavorable, or it is balanced, okay. We call the balance of trade as favorable when the exports are greater than imports, okay. Export of the goods are greater than imports. The situation is called the unfavorable when the exports are less than imports, okay. And if the exports are equal to imports of the goods, then the situation is known as the balanced, okay. So the balance of trade may be favorable, unfavorable, or balanced, right? Now the second part of the current account is the balance of invisibles. Balance of invisible, okay. We have talked about there is a two type of the current account, balance of current account, that is BOT, and the balance of invisible. Now let's talk about the second part of the current account, that is the balance of invisible, right? Here the balance of invisible includes services. Services may be the rendered to or received from the rest of the world, okay. It includes the factor services like land, labor and capital services, then non-factor services like banking and insurance services, okay. It includes the banking and insurance services, then tourism services provided by the country, okay, or the transportation services, okay. So the services are all these, okay. Then invisible also includes the unilateral transactions. It is known as unilateral transaction because here in this case, the flow of funds goes in one direction only. Okay. We can understand it with the help of example. Unilateral transactions are like gifts and charity by the country. Okay. Then we have the grants, then the donations, pension, remittances, etc. are included in these unilateral transactions. It is included in the balance of invisible, right? Okay, so this is included in the balance of invisible. Okay, thus the balance of payment of current account consists of balance of trade plus balance of invisible, right? Here the balance of invisible also favorable, unfavorable or balanced here in this case when the receipts are greater than the payments, the situation is called favorable. If the receipts are less than payment, the situation is unfavorable, and receipt is equal to the payment, then the situation is balanced. Okay? So this is balanced of invisible. Now the balance of current account consists of balance of trade and the balance of invisible, right? Here the balance of current account also positive. It either positive, negative or balanced. Okay. We also call it as favorable, unfavorable or balanced, right? Here when the country have earned more foreign exchange than what it has spent on various expenses, okay, then the situation is positive, okay, and we have the current account surplus in this case. Okay, when the foreign exchange is more than what it has spent, we have the current account surplus. And if the country earned less foreign exchange than what it has spent, then the country has current account deficit. Okay, and if and that situation is unfavorable, situation is called unfavorable or negative. And if the country, what the country have earned of foreign exchange reserves is equal to what it has spent on foreign exchange reserve, then the situation is called balanced, right? So this is about the balance of current account, right? Now let's move on to the second part of the balance of payment statement, that is the balance of payment on capital account. Okay, here the capital account records all the flow of capital. Okay, it records the flow of capital. Here the flow may be the inflow, it either the inflow of capital or it either the outflow of capital, right? Here the flow of fund can be divided in following way, that is the non-debt creating flow, inflow. It may be the non-debt creating inflow. Okay, non-debt creating inflow includes the foreign direct investment. It also includes the portfolio investment, etc. Right? Then we have the debt creating inflow. Debt creating inflows are those inflows that creates a debt for a country, that includes the external assistance. Okay, external assistance. Then it includes the external commercial borrowings. Okay. Then the country have the short-term credits. That is the inflow and that creates debt for a country. Then the NRI deposits. Okay. These all are the debt creating inflows. Okay. So that is included in the capital account. Okay. So here the current capital account, capital flows are required, it is required to settle the surplus or the deficit that is in the current account, balance on current account, right? Here let's say there is a current account surplus. Let's say we have the current account surplus. Okay, that is a favorable situation for the current account of BOP, right? So if the country having the current account surplus, okay, then it's sending capital outside the country, and in these cases the country having a capital account deficit, and therefore it has to send capital outside, right? The country having the capital account deficit. So the deficit of the capital account is removed from the current account surplus. Okay, and let's say the country having current account deficit. Okay, if the country having current account deficit, then if there is a current account deficit, then the country have to arrange flow of capital. Okay, so that it can finance the deficit of the current account, right? And therefore the inflow of the capital account surplus removes the current account deficit, right? So this is about the balancing of the current account and the capital account. Now let's understand the BOP, overall BOP, right? That is the balance of payment. Okay. Balance of payment is the sum of balance of payment on current account. Okay, it is a sum of balance of payment on current account and the balance of payment on capital account. Okay, it includes both of these, balance of payment on current account and capital account. Here the balance of payment is balanced when the current account deficit is equal to the capital account surplus. Okay, it is balanced when the current account deficit is equal to the capital account surplus, or the current account surplus is equal to the capital account deficit. Okay, when both of these is equal, then and then only the balance of payment account is balanced. Okay, and this situation is known as the equilibrium of the balance of payment account, right? But there are some cases when the deficit of the current account is not equal to the capital account surplus, or and vice versa, etc. Right? So that situation, when it is not balanced, the situation is called the disequilibrium in balance of payment. Okay, we will talk about this disequilibrium, various reasons behind the disequilibrium. It has various types and the causes. This we will talk in detail in the next lecture of BOP. Okay. So, in short, when there is a disequilibrium in the balance of payment, the country will take resort from foreign exchange reserve. Okay, it takes resort from the foreign exchange reserves. Okay, so in this case, when the capital account surplus, okay, capital account surplus is greater than current account deficit, there is a balance, somewhat balance of the surplus of the capital account. Okay, and the balance is transferred to the foreign exchange reserve account. Okay, and if the capital account surplus is less than what the capital account deficit is, then it is not able to pay the finance all the deficit of the current account, and in these case the flow, the money is taken from the foreign exchange reserves to finance the current account deficit. Okay, and in the when there is a disequilibrium, okay, it is balanced through the errors and the omissions. Okay, so this is about the balance of payment. Now let's understand this balance of payment with example. Here we have the balance of payment of the country. Okay, let's see the balance of payment for the year 2012-13, right? Here the source from this example is the RBI. Okay, here the first there is a current account. Okay, current account includes the BOT and the invisible. Okay, this is the BOT, that is the difference between these is here. Okay, it is over here. Then it includes the invisible. Okay, so both of these makes the current account of BOP. Okay, then we have the capital account. Capital account includes all the external assistance, commercial borrowings, short-term credits, okay, banking capital, etc. Okay, and both of these should be balanced, and whatever is not balanced is balanced through the adding errors and omissions. Okay, and if there is surplus, then it is added to the reserves. Okay, and if there is deficit, then the money is taken from the foreign exchange reserve account. Okay, so this is the example of the balance of payment. It is the summary, okay, of the balance of payment account. So this is all about the balance of payment statement. In the next lecture, we will talk about the types of disequilibrium and the causes of disequilibrium for the BOP in detail. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much.